Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Hi, everybody. This is an archived edition of Talking Real Money. That means it's from several years ago. So the offers, the particulars are often quite dated and are probably not valid anymore. So remember that when you listen. And thanks so much for listening to Talking Real Money.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Retiremeet 2017. I'm Don McDonald, relegated to the hallway at Retiremeet because in the big room we have Paul Merriman speaking right now, and followed by New York Times bestselling author Dan Solon at 1 o'clock. So, wow, big crowd today at Retiremeet. We had a full house, lots of great classes so far this morning, and more coming up this afternoon until right about 4 o'clock. And here's what we're doing for those of you who couldn't get tickets for the all-day event. Most of the classes that took place in the morning, many of them are going to happen in the afternoon. What, Tom?
Paul Merriman threw me out of there.
Tom's been thrown out by Paul Merriman. He threw you out of the room? What'd you do wrong? Were you heckling?
Evidently. All the years finally are coming back.
Oh, yeah, I'm turning it
Ricky
mic
says
down.
I'm talking too much.
Okay, yeah, well. Oh, you talk too much? That never happens. That's Tom Cock over there, who's not going to be on the show today because he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off here at Retiremeet. But here's the deal. If you want to come by Retiremeet and catch some of the afternoon classes, you don't get a lunch. Sorry, we rent out. But you can come get into some of the afternoon classes. First come, first serve for the classes. So you may not get your pick of the litter, but we'll get you in to something. You can come by here for $10 and get into the afternoon classes for our after 1 p.m. class. You can just pay $10 at the door, and we're at Maidenbauer in Bellevue, Maidenbauer Center. Now you have to pay for parking or find a place, but that's the deal. So come on by if you want to see some really great classes on investing, on Social Security. Andy Landis is here, who's like Mr. Social Security. What else do we have on the schedule? We got Andy. We got Rick Gregorick talking about retirement law, long-term care. Holland America Lines is talking about traveling in the 21st century, cruising and the like. Future housing and care options with ERA Living. Long-term care plans. Dan Solon's doing an afternoon session on investing for retirement. I'm doing both real retirement investing and the history of real investing this afternoon. And Tom's doing retirement income for life. So got a bunch of stuff. Oh, and Andy's doing both Medicare and a piece on Social Security, Andy Landis. So got a lot of stuff going on this afternoon at Retiremeet. We'd love to see you here. In the meantime, if you have questions about investing or saving money or how you're going to get to that better retirement, you can also call me on the show for the next 50 minutes or so until the basketball pregame starts at 877-397-5666. That's 877-397-5666. We want to help you become a better investor, not just a better investor, but a real investor, as opposed to all of this other stuff that passes for investing. The lies, the obfuscation, the opacity, the fibs that are told in the name of investing are legion, and we want to cut through a lot of those. So if you have a story you'd like to share, or if you think you might be being pitched something that isn't in your best interest, that isn't right for you, you need to call 877-397-5666. And when we come back from this next break, I have a story to share with you about some of the classes that purport to teach about investing and some of the products that make claims that are just not true. No matter how many times you say the same thing, if it's not true, it remains not true. You can twist it, you can turn it, you can look at it from different directions, but facts are facts, and you can't argue the facts. One of the things I want to talk about is this business of annuities. There are a lot. Boy, probably the most misrepresented product in the world is the annuity. The variable annuity, the indexed annuity, even some of the fixed annuity products. They are so badly misrepresented. And we're going to talk about that and a lot more. Give me a call, 877-397-5666.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
This episode from our archives was recorded at Retiremeet in 2017. Now, it's just an interesting coincidence that we're about ready to hold Retiremeet 2022, and that'll take place in person in Bellevue, Washington, but we're doing it this year also virtually. So if you'd like to attend either the live or the virtual event, go to retiremeet.com. That's retire, M-E-E-T, actually, or M-E-A-T.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hi, Don McDonald here, broadcasting from our third annual Retiremeet event, an educational event. It's not like a trade show thing, where you come and get a lot of free stuff. You actually come here and you get an education. We have classes on investing and income creation and living in retirement, Social Security, Medicare, and a whole lot more. And if you would like to come by this afternoon, just stop by the Meydenbauer Center. We have classes coming up at 2 o'clock and at 3 o'clock, and we'll get you a ticket for $10 for that at the door. So come by Meydenbauer Center. With a few more people we can fit in, we think, for the afternoon classes, but not, 1,000 of you, no. Forget about it. 877-397-5666 is our phone number, 877-397-5666. And as I said, a little bit later in the program, I want to share a story with you about these classes at various colleges and universities, not just in the Northwest, but all over the country, that pretend to be financial education classes, but are nothing more than a thinly veiled sales pitch for annuities, typically variable annuities, in some cases indexed annuities, in every case products that create gigantic commissions for the person selling them, who's supposed to be providing you with an education, but in fact, the fourth class is almost always a private consultation in their office. 877-397-5666 is the phone number. Give us a call. Mark, you're next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. And really, the annuity goes right into it because, so I'm a county employee with about 15 years in a county retirement system. I've got a 401k that I am putting the $5,500 a year in. It's the Roth IRA, and then I've started doing deferred compensation for the last 2 or 3 years. And I went to a broker, and they suggested taking it out of the county deferred compensation system and putting it into a Mass Mutual product, which is apparently not an annuity.
An annuity. It is an annuity.
Well, I say it again.
What's the name of the product?
Mass Mutual.
What do they call it?
But it's
I know the firm. That's
saying
the firm.
It's just like an indexed, or just like a Vanguard fund or something in that nature.
Okay, what makes it so appealing? What was the pitch? What was so good about it?
Well, for me, it was just that I didn't know what the county system was doing with the deferred comp. They just seemed to just put it in a particular product. I don't even know what it is. It's guided by the county's. Well,
no. What I'm wondering is that Mass Mutual sells a lot of annuities, and they're often sold in retirement accounts.
Well, and this was done actually through Edward Jones, and then he put me into that Mass Mutual fund, I guess it is.
Okay, so it's a Mass Mutual. It's some of their mutual funds then. Okay, it's not an annuity. That's their loaded mutual funds.
That's what it seems to be, yes.
Yeah, those are loaded,
my question is,
fully commissioned funds, yes.
Okay, and as I understood it, they were making about like 0.0625 or something off of the fund as their fee to manage it.
Right, but you were probably charged a 5.75% commission going in.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there something I should do alternatively, or is there something? Am I just sort of in this and just leave it now, or? Do
you know the funds you have? They're not that, and they're not index funds. They're actively managed funds. Most of them at Mass Mutual.
Okay. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know the.
Yeah, and the funds. If you're in actively managed funds, the statistical truth is the data shows that actively managed mutual funds do not, and actually the math says they cannot outperform just the market or index products. So if not now, at some point in the future, you need to stop investing with a firm like Ed Jones, where one, you're paying a commission, and two, you're getting into actively managed products with higher fees. For example, if you were in an equity fund at Vanguard, like their total market index, you would pay less than 0.2% a year and no load going in. So you see, if you were to move over there, the 5 3/4 commission is lost. It's gone forever.
Right.
That was what you paid the guy for his advice. And I'm making little air quotes. That's done.
Sure.
But for this money and for future money, if you went somewhere like Vanguard, you would pay 0.15 or 0.2 or 0.25 for your funds every year. And that extra money you're not paying is money back into your pocket.
Yeah, I think I frankly spoke with several people that are friends of mine, and they all kind of fall into this same sort of thing where they're like, well, I don't know, I just put the money in the deferred comp and it goes someplace else, and hopefully in the end it shakes out.
Because the education provided to people about investing is horrific. What little of it there is generally provided by people who are selling products. It is more often than not encouraging people to speculate as opposed to invest. Very little of it is based on peer-reviewed academic data. There's just there's a knowledge vacuum surrounding investing. And it's not your fault. It's not your friend's fault. It's just the fact that nobody tells you what. And there's so many. 99% of the people who provide investing advice in America are not always required to do what's in your best interest. So there's no incentive for them to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. In fact, there's a disincentive.
You would propose getting out of that Mass Mutual fund, eventually get over into a Vanguard fund, and just
and then go back to your go back to your county plan and find out what your options are. And if you'd like those looked at, we'll look at them for free on 401411.com and put them up there for other people to look at and find the best choices for you within that plan. And that's free.
Well, I sure appreciate that. Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mark, thanks for calling. We appreciate you being a part of the show. 877-397-5666. That's how you get in touch with me. And please bear in mind that today the show is shortened by University of Washington basketball. I'm only on for 1 hour. Tom's in the big room with Paul Merriman right now. He's actually speaking at this time, and then Dan Solon will be speaking. Dan Solon will also be speaking during the breakout classes later today, so you'll be able to come and ask him questions there. If you'd like to come to Retiremeet, we're at the Maidenpower Center in downtown Bellevue, and we're up on the 4th floor. If you come up here, tickets are $10 for the classes at 2 and 3 o'clock. So you can go to both of those classes for $10 and pick which ones you want to go to. We got a whole bunch of them. We've got about between 2 and 3, about 9 classes left. So come on over if you can. Call me if you can't. 877-397-5666. Oh, wait, there's some old guy wandering the hall. Looks vaguely like Tom Cott. Really? Is that you? 877-397-5666. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
This is a show from our archives that has not been available for a very long time, but it is available right now. And it just so happens that it was recorded at Retiremeet 2017, 5 years ago. It just so happens that we're doing Retiremeet 2022 in May, and we hope you'll come. It's in person in Bellevue, Washington, or virtually online. And to attend, all you have to do is sign up at retiremeet.com, retire MEET or MEAT.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hi, I'm Don. Tom's over there, but wandering away again, eating his apple here at Retiremeet in Bellevue at the Maidenbauer Center. 877-397-5666 is the number to call me still, even though I'm not in the studio. I'm in Maidenbauer Center. And I'll try to help you manage money better than you ever have before. And tell you the truth, even if the truth hurts. And it's going to hurt a few people a little later on in the program. 877-397-5666. Well, let me tell you a story. Stick around. Jamie, you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hi there.
Hi, Jamie. What's up?
Well, hey, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
My husband and I have been investing in his 401k, which doesn't have a match, and we were doing like 6%. We decided to open up a Roth IRA after reading some information about it and the tax advantages potentially. And
right.
So we have a small amount in TD Ameritrade.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what your advice would be in terms of where to invest that. We have a lot of options there.
How much money's over there at TD?
It's only $1,000 right now, but we're planning on, $200 a month kind of deal.
TD Ameritrade has a really great deal on Vanguard ETFs.
Okay.
They will let you invest in Vanguard ETFs with no transaction fee.
Oh, okay.
So there is an ETF over at Vanguard that is the entire world index. It has about 7,000 stocks in the portfolio. The symbol is VT. It's just
VT.
Vanguard Total. VT.
Okay. VT. I can remember that.
Since it's $1,000 and it's going to be in there for, I would imagine, several years, right?
Yep. We're looking like, 30 more years.
And you understand that the stock market can... Oh, my gosh, yes. And you understand that the stock market can be crazy volatile, but it goes up more than it goes down, right?
Right.
You understand that it will go up more than it goes down, short of a global conflagration when the whole place blows up. And if it blows up, go get some freeze-dried food at Costco and a gun.
Well, okay, good plan. All right, thank you for the
otherwise be in VT forever and a day, and you'll own the whole world, and someday you're going to be glad you did. Someday you'll be glad you'll be sad you did when the market goes down, but then you just remember Don promised it would go down. I promise you it will go down, but I am also very confident it will go up far more than it goes down.
Most excellent. All right, thank you for the advice.
My pleasure, Jamie. Thanks for calling. 877-397-5666 is our phone number. You need to, this is one of the most important things about investing you need to remember. You must remember that the economy of this planet, the only one we're aware of that has an economy, has become increasingly valuable, not over just the past century, but over the past couple of millennia. The economy of humanity has grown more valuable year after year. There have been a few minor dips along the way, but they're short-lived, and then they pick right back up again. You can't tell me that today's economy is not far more valuable than the economy was in 1776 or in the year zero. I mean, this is a much more valuable economy, and that trend is more likely to continue than the very, very unlikely opposite. And that is the only way the economy of the planet can go down in value and continue to go down in value forever and ever and ever is if we totally mess it up. And at that point, I would argue you're not going to care where you're invested. 877-397-5666 is our phone number. 877-397-5666. I'm broadcasting from Maidenbauer Center, this is our third annual Retire Meet, and we've been sold out for the third year in a row. But this year we're doing afternoon classes, which are a little different. So we were sold out for the full day. But if you'd like to come by for a couple classes in the afternoon, it's just $10 at the door at Maidenbauer Center. And those first classes get underway at about 2.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
This episode was recorded back in 2017 at the Retire Meet we held 5 years ago. Hasn't been heard in many years. That's why we're showing it or playing it. We're not showing it today, but if you'd like to go to Retiremeet 2022 in person, there'll be a cost, but it's not much. And it's in Bellevue, Washington on May 14th of 2022. If you would like to attend virtually, though, that's free. Just go to retiremeet.com and you can spell it any darn way you want, practically.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Yeah, because it's really important. And we're at Maidenbauer Center in Bellevue at Retire Meet 2017. Tom Cox hanging around, being obnoxious, making fun of me, as he always does. And you're welcome to call and get a question answered during the next half hour at 877-397-5666. And if you'd like to come by Retire Meet, come over to the Maidenbauer Center. You got to pay for parking. Yes, it's Bellevue. What do you expect? You think there's free parking? No. And then it's $10 to get in. But we got some great classes this afternoon that you can attend. So it's not free. It's education. And, one other thing. By the way, 877-397-5666 is the phone number. I did want to... An earlier caller, Jamie, was talking, no, not Jamie, Mark was talking about the Roth, that he'd moved to Edward Jones with Mass Mutual. There is another possibility that I'd forgotten that Edward Jones just recently set up some new fee-based accounts for Roth IRAs that use actively managed, the more expensive mutual funds at about that 60 basis point level. Instead of charging a 5.75% commission, they have a fee that starts at either 1.5 or 1.35%. So that makes the total fees and expenses for something like that right at 2% per year, which isn't horrid, but it could be better. It could be lower. 877-397-5666 is the phone number. Don, you're up. Welcome to Talking Real Money. Hey,
Hello.
Don. What's up?
Well, hey, I work for the government, and I've got about $227,000 in the G fund. It's been in there for quite a while. I've taken other losses, and I just wanted to go most conservative as possible. And I'm in the FERS program, which is 1% a year, and Social Security. I just was wondering what you'd recommend.
Oh my gosh, Don. One, how old are you?
61.
61. And I'm going to guess that you went into the G Fund probably about 8 years ago or so.
That's correct.
How did I know that?
Yeah. Well.
And I'm not making fun or giving you a hard time. Right. You did what people do. It gets so painful when the market is plummeting like it did in 2008 and early 2009. It gets so painful that we can't handle it anymore. You get out and you go to government bonds, which is what the G Fund is. Right. And then you sit there and you watch thinking, well, it's, it went up a little bit. It'll go back down again. Then I'll get in. It'll go back up and I'll get in. Then I'll get, and soon 8 years or 9 years have passed and you're going, I'm still out.
Right.
When the right way to do it is to build a portfolio today that is appropriate for your tolerance for volatility. And if are you still contributing to the TSP?
Yeah, I have been contributing up to 21%. My wife just got laid off, and so I dropped it back to 6%. So at least I get matching. And but for quite a while, it was at 21%. I was,
See, the TSP is a great plan. TSP is a great plan. I believe the expenses of the TSP funds are the lowest in the world. I don't think anything is lower. They're very good index-style products. The trick is building a portfolio and sticking with it that is appropriate for your risk tolerance. Now, since you got scared in '08, it's certainly, we know for a fact that you are not a 100% equity kind of guy. Okay, we know that.
Right.
So now we know your risk tolerance is somewhere between 100% in bonds and less than 100% in stocks. Got to figure what that number is, because you've got to have some of your money, even in retirement, in equities, or you will not stay afloat. You won't keep ahead of inflation. You won't grow your assets as your expenses may grow and change. You need some equities. And what I would suggest you do is go to our website, which is 401411.com. We have some model portfolios. One of them that's a very conservative model, but still puts you in some stocks. And build that more conservative get started on that today. Don't wait for the market to go down, because it may not go down. Who knows? We don't know. We cannot know the future.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
This episode hasn't been heard in about 10 years since we did it live at Retiremeet in 2017. This year, we delayed Retiremeet until May 14th, 2022, so you still have time to get your tickets to attend either in person in Bellevue, Washington, or virtually online. Just go to retiremeet.com, retire MEET or whatever, however you want to spell it, .com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
I'm Don McDonald, just hanging out at the Retiremeet here at Maidenbauer Center. I promised a story. I promised you a little story. I'm going to share that story with you right now. This week, a couple of days ago, I received an email from a listener. This listener attended a class at a local college. They assumed that because, and I reasonably assumed that because this class was being held at a community college, that this class on retirement investing would be a class on retirement investing. Instead, it turns out that, like almost every other continuing education class on investing, it was absolutely, no doubt about it, not even a thinly veiled, but an absolutely unveiled, blatant attempt to sell people variable annuities for their retirement, which, by the way, is either the worst or the second worst product you could put in any kind of a qualified retirement plan, my dear friends. So this is a guy, and they're all over. They're legion. They're at small colleges all over America, teaching these classes, and then in the third or the fourth class, having a private meeting to sell you an annuity in your retirement plan, which is like redundant tax deferral, and there's no such thing as double tax deferral, and you just pay a lot in fees for these things. But nobody ever reads the disclosure documents, and certainly no one ever reads the truth about these products and how misleading they are. And one of the most misleading things about this product, as a matter of fact, the guy who teaches the class once called this show and came on the air saying, this pays a true, absolutely no doubt about it, 7% per year. Well, that, folks, and I invite him to come back on. I'll give him 10 or 15 minutes if he sends me all the disclosure documents. I want all the disclosure documents, all of the examples, so I can do a full analysis of them, but I've analyzed a lot of these. Most of these annuities that promise this 7%, there's a very convoluted formula. You could sit down and it will literally make your eyes glaze over. Not figuratively, you will have glazed eyes for the rest of your life. Because their calculations, when you actually crunch the numbers, that 7%, when all is said and done and you've annuitized the darn thing, works out to, I've done the numbers, about 2% per year. About 2% per year, cash on cash. But because they obfuscate and play games with the figures in the classes, you think you're getting 7. You're not getting 7. There isn't anybody out there, anybody, who can give you a 7% return on your money with no risk, period. Anybody says anything else is a liar, and I will say that without fear. of being contradicted because they are. Never seen a product. Never. Now, if somebody out there has a product that actually pays a true 7% cash on cash with no risk, and you show that to me, I will give you a whole bloody hour on the show. I will give you the whole hour all by yourself. We will give you our show to plug your product for as long as you want. You prove to me there's a 7% cash on cash, no risk, 10-year product, as this guy claimed. Show it to me. Show me the numbers. Now, that brings me to my quest. Over the next few weeks, we are going to start going after colleges. Going after them for violating their fiduciary responsibility to their community by allowing these people to teach these classes. And next week, we're going to start with Olympic College up in the peninsula. And we're going to challenge you guys to show us how these classes are in the interest of your students. That's next week's show. You want to tell your friends to tune in next week because we are going to have a good old time taking down some of these people. You should be getting a real education, not a sales pitch when you go to one of these classes. 877-397-5666. Remember that number every week. Helen, you're next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Oh, hi, good morning or good afternoon. I'm really
hi,
glad
Helen.
that you're talking about annuities today because I picked up two annuities about 6 years ago, and it's a single premium, multi-year guaranteed deferred annuity. And the first one's $25,000, which I paid for in advance, and the second one is also a $25,000 that I paid for in advance. So my question to you is, I'm not really understanding the process of how they actually work. I'm about on my
no one does
right now. Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of holding my breath, and I've been watching. I started off with $25,000, and it's made $3,000 up to this year. So it's better than putting
Wait. You've made $3,000 over 6 years?
Correct. Well,
I bet they promised you more than that.
What's that?
Yeah. I bet they promised more than that.
Oh, well, I see they started off telling me that I was going to do a 5%, but as I'm looking at it here, my first year's 3%, 2 to 5 years is 3%, 6 to 10, where I'm heading towards now, is going to be at 1%. So I have a maturity date of 2044. What do I do after the 10th year if I want to stay in this through the 10th year?
Do you want to? Why would you want to stay in something that isn't doing anywhere near what they promised? If you were getting 5% per year over the last 6 years, let's just say you got 5. Your account should be worth $34,000.
We could go out to lunch, huh?
Yeah. See, these folks just, their calculations are so convoluted that they mask the truth in gobbledygook. They obfuscate. They create this opacity that no client can possibly see through. But what they promise is always a far cry from what they actually deliver. And as you see, there's a far cry.
Yeah, now the problem with having an annuity, is you will know, is you've got your surrender withdrawal charge schedule.
Yeah.
So on my 6th
how much
year,
how much is the next surrender, Helen?
I'm looking at 5% on my 6th year, 4%, 3%. And
how much was it the first year? I'm gonna show you a little trick for annuities. How much was your first year surrender?
9%. Of course, I had never thought that I was going to surrender it. I've just wanted to kind of keep them for a retirement investment.
Would you like to know what the person who sold it to you made?
Oh, yes, please.
9%.
I see. Okay.
That's why the surrender's at 9. You see, the 9% surrender charge is designed if you leave to pay the company back the commission they paid to the agent.
Okay. So if I wait till the 11th year...
But you see, the problem is you're going to have a pathetic return if you wait until the 11th year. So for all intents and purposes, this is one of those things where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And if if I were sitting down and personally trying to figure this out with you, my first inclination would be, Helen, you chalk this up to experience, take your lumps, pay the surrender, and start really learning how to really invest. And go to Vanguard or somebody where you can actually have a chance to make some money and never deal with an insurance agent again, ever. Because these people lie with absolute impunity.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Once again, this episode was recorded back in 2017 at a live Retiremeet event in Bellevue, Washington. And we're having another one. We're having our first live one in a couple of years on May 14th in Bellevue, Washington. Also, though, it'll be accessible online, so anybody can attend. To make your reservation, just go to retiremeet.com, retiremeet.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
I've been at this for almost 30 years on the radio. I've never seen an insurance investment product that actually did what they claimed it would do. Come on out to the Maidenbauer Center for the last couple of classes at Retiremeet 2017 before it wraps up. Just $10 to get into the last classes. Hurry on over.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately, consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. That's a wrap.